Hello.
Okay, we're going on the record on cause number DC 16465, Choppa v. Dave and Buster's Inc. Council, make your appearances.
T. Went for the plaintiffs, Your
Okay,
Honor.
we're going on the record on cause number DC 16465, Choppa v. Dave and Buster's Inc. Go ahead.
Ken Riney for the defendant, Dave and Buster's Inc.
I'm Robert Greening. I'm the guardian ad litem for the minors, AC and MC.
And T. Went for plaintiffs, Your Honor.
Let's proceed.
Your Honor, we call Emiliano Choppa.
Yes.
Mr. Choppa, if you could please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
All right, let's proceed.
Mr. Choppa, please state your name, your full name for the record.
Emiliano Choppa.
And you are the divorced father and the biological father of minors Max and Anaya Choppa. Is that correct?
Yes.
And on February 9th, 2020, your son Max was 14 years old and your daughter Anaya was 12 years old. Is that right?
Yes.
And is it true that your entire family went to the Dave and Buster's in Dallas off of Central Expressway to celebrate the birthdays of Max and your father?
Yes.
And around 2 p.m., gunshots rang out when Max and Anaya was standing in the front lobby of the Dave and Buster's, just a few feet away from the front doors with you and 5 other members of your family. Is that right?
Yes.
And is it correct to say that their uncle, who is your older brother, Dr. Carlos Choppa, was hit by a bullet and fell to the ground inside the vestibule as he entered the front doors with your father?
Yes.
And is it correct to say that you were cut by shattering glass on your right arm and you shielded Anaya?
Yes.
And is it correct to say that your fight or flight response immediately kicked in when you thought your brother was dead and you went to rescue him and drag him to safety?
Yes.
Is it also correct to say that neither Max nor Anaya were physically injured, but that they were shaken up emotionally?
Yes, correct.
Is it correct to say that afterwards, Max did not seek professional help, but Anaya went to one session of counseling?
Yes.
Is it also correct to say that after the counseling session, Anaya stated that she did not want to go back and just wanted support from her family?
Correct. Yes.
And after the incident, you sought out the Turley Law Firm, is that right?
Yes.
And you also signed a contract with us on behalf of your son, Max, and your daughter, Anaya, and you had a chance to look over the contract, is that right?
Yes.
And you agreed to pay the firm 33 1/3%, yes?
Yes.
And is it correct to say that you agreed to reimburse the firm for expenses to prosecute the case?
Yes.
And you understand at mediation, defendant offered to settle this case for $9,000 for Max and $9,000 for Anaya, and you were in agreement with this settlement.
Yes.
And of the 10 plaintiffs in this lawsuit, the 6 oldest plaintiffs agreed to pay for the common expenses. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you agreed to pay for Anaya's individual case expenses from your own settlement. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
And is it correct to say that Max did not have any case expenses?
Correct. Yes.
And you have also paid for Anaya's one counseling session. Is that right?
Yes.
And you understand that a motion for an appointment of a guardian ad litem was filed?
Yes.
And you've spoken to the guardian ad litem, Mr. Robert Greening, and you are satisfied with his recommendation. Is that right?
Yes.
And you understand that the defendant has agreed to pay for the cost of the guardian ad litem?
Yes.
And for Max and Anaya's settlement, after attorney's fees, Max and Anaya each is left with $6,000 to be deposited into the Dallas County Registry of the court in an interest-bearing account at the highest rate authorized by law. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
And you understand that as each child reaches the age of 18 years, the money can be released to him or her upon request to the court.
Yes.
And you, as Max and Anaya's parent, are in agreement with what we are trying to do today. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you understand that this is the entire case.
Yes.
And you understand that neither you nor you on behalf of Max nor you on behalf of Anaya can come back to court.
Yes. Correct.
And is it true that your ex-wife, the mother of Max and Anaya, is in agreement with what you are trying to do today?
Yes.
And you're asking the court to approve the settlement?
Yes.
Do you have any questions?
No.
I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Chapa, just to clarify, as part of the divorce, nothing as part of the divorce affected your ability to bring this legal action on behalf of Max and Anaya, correct?
Correct.
And you are a legal guardian of Max and Anaya, correct?
Yeah.
And you understand that Max and Anaya's conditions could get worse. And even if the conditions got worse, that neither you nor anyone else on their behalf could come back into court and ask for more money from Dave and Buster's. You understand
Correct.
that?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that there may be conditions that are unknown to us at this time, or unknown to you or Max or Anaya, and this settlement includes any unknown conditions.
Correct.
And you understand that any expenses, medical expenses, counseling expenses, attorney's fees incurred after today are not covered by the settlement and will not be paid by Dave and Buster's or their insurance company. You understand that?
Yes.
And you understand that you have a right to a jury trial?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that if you went to trial, you might receive more money on behalf of Max and Anaya, you might receive less. You understand that?
Correct. Yes.
And you're not settling due to any economic duress or any other duress, correct?
Correct.
You're settling of your own free will, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're not relying upon any representations made by Dave and Buster's, their attorneys, or their claims representatives in settling, correct?
Correct.
You have read and understood and signed the settlement agreement that was entitled the full and complete release, correct?
Yes.
And in addition to Mr. Greenig, the guardian ad litem, you also had an opportunity to discuss the terms of the settlement with your attorney, Ms. Nguyen, correct?
Correct.
And you believe that the settlement is in the best interest of Max and Anaya?
Yes, sir.
And you understand that the court will actually determine the actual apportionment of the settlement proceeds?
Yes, sir.
And are you asking the court to approve this settlement on behalf of Max and Anaya?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Any additional questions?
Mr.
No,
Green,
sir.
you're on mute.
I'm sorry, I'm on mute. Sorry about that. Mr. Chava, it's Robert Greening. You and I have had an opportunity to have a phone call wherein we basically discussed, and I asked you many of the same questions that you've been asked here today, correct?
Correct.
And you feel like that both your children, MC and AC, have made as a full recovery or as good a recovery as they're going to make over the psychic injuries that they received as a result of this incident, correct?
Yes, sir.
And do you believe that this settlement is in the best interest of MC and AC?
Yes, I do.
And do you have any questions of me or any of the people here in this hearing today?
No, sir.
All right, I will pass the witness. Thank you.
Any additional questions?
No, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Chapa, do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
I just want to make sure I'm understanding this. I'm pretty sure I do. So the children that are involved here, they were the niece and nephew of the deceased. Is that correct?
The one who got shot, Your Honor.
He was not deceased, just in.
I'm sorry, the one who was shot, correct?
Yes.
And so their only claims are bystander claims, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. And then this gentleman has his own, he was hit with a bullet as well, correct?
No,
Mr. Chapa, the gentleman here?
no.
No.
Oh, he was not hit with a bullet. Okay. All right. So the gentleman who was shot was the uncle of the children. And then this gentleman was the brother of the person who was shot, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Mr. Greening, do you have a recommendation?
Your Honor, yes, I filed my report earlier today, and I recommend that the court approve the settlement. As usual, and I'll say this because I used to work there, the Turley firm did a fantastic job in this case with the arguments, and I think they overcame a motion for summary judgment on the claims of the minors. And I think that they put in a lot of work to preserve this claim for these for these children. The children did not have, we don't have a lot of medical expenses and that kind of thing, but I think they're deserving of this settlement. And I think it's a fair and reasonable settlement based upon the facts as we see them. And so I would ask that you approve the settlement. I'd ask that you approve the attorney's fees. They were well deserved in this case. And just, I'd ask that you put the money in the registry of the court for these kids.
All right. The court will, and is there a agreement as to the amount of the guardian ad litem fees?
What was the amount?
It's
Robert?
$1,382.50.
And defendant has no objection.
The court will approve the settlement as requested and the guardian ad litem fees as agreed to by the parties. Mr. Chop, I wish you the very best of luck. I'm sorry you went through this. I know that's got to be very scary for you and your kids and everyone involved, and I wish you the very best of luck. And you guys, and Mr. Greening, again, thank you for your service to the court. As always, it's exemplary. And you guys have a great day and you be safe, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, I think we have a Mr. Russell here, is that correct? Mr. Russell, are you there?